Mouse Hunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. It's the final Feedback Friday of the year. Look, my horn's ready to sound too. Look at that timing. Stuck snowball mouse. All right. It is the final Feedback Friday of 2023. The team's about to take a holiday break, come back in the new year refreshed, ready to get back at it. Good morning. Hopefully everybody in the chat is doing well. It is December 22. 2023. There's a lot of twos. Hello, Shay, Hank. Morning and Merry Christmas right back at you. Hello, Matt, hey, Michelle, hey, Sri. Lint is dancing and singing. Matt took the day off today and yesterday, and you're just relaxing. Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us, Matt. Hello, Russ, Mark, Mac, Eric, KDM, nice to see you. Hello, Jason, Grant. Glad to hear you having a Merry Christmas. Hello, Nathan, as well. Hacky Ryan. Well, I thought, we could reflect a little bit on this year, but a lot of this year, too, was getting ready for next year as well. In 2023, saw the release of the Beanstalk. We made some updates to the King's Giveaway. Event season played on through. We got a visit from a flying merchant and lots more fun as well. But a big thing that we were doing in 2023 was getting ready for 2024 as well. We were working on things, even wrapping up some stuff that we knew, okay, this isn't coming out till 2024, but it just kind of lets us get ahead and kind of plan everything out, even have the benefit of hindsight. We're working on something and the thing that comes out before it isn't released yet, so it helps us kind of just thread it all together a little bit more cohesively as well. So it was exciting to see. That was the plan this year, and at least on our end, it went pretty well, which set up things pretty well for 2024, I think. Potato, what are you asking? You're asking if the M400 Part 2 that Jacob was working on will be related to the new area release of the library. So that is the M1000 mouse. That's kind of the tentative name for it. I don't know, MK1 or M1K. Sorry, I keep saying MK1, M1K, M1000. Kind of still finalizing the name a little bit, but hopefully if all goes according to plan, that will be not too far in the distance and be coming out next year. Lint, any peep at the last 2 dates of the Advent Calendar Awards? Alas, some things are better left as a surprise. You'll have to wait and see what's behind those final 2 doors. Voltide, welcome on in. Good morning to you. Matt, it's 2024. That is 10 years after the Year of the Noble. That is a good way of looking back, Matt. I can't believe that was 10 years ago. That was kind of a bit of a, I don't know if I want to call it a milestone year, but a big shift. I know that year a lot of high-level areas came out. It was kind of something that had been building a lot of plans and kind of ideas, and we were finally able to capture all those ideas. I believe the Toxic Spill came out that year, if I recall correctly. And that kind of introduced the first Archduke mouse to the game. And that's hard to believe, Matt. I'll take at your word. That was 10 years ago. Wow, doesn't feel like it. Good morning, Diamond. Welcome on in. Potato, you're liking the M1K or Mike. That's kind of cute. That might make me think it should be the M1K, not M1000. But we'll see. We're still finalizing some of the names. But yeah, Jacob was working on that last Feedback Friday. And we've gotten the wheels in motion already for where that's going to tie in. There's a couple things to keep in mind as we just look ahead to the end of the year, take a peek a little bit into the start of the next year as well. Reminder, the Winter Hunt, the New Year's celebration is coming on December 28th. Kind of, roughly around this time, but, give or take a little bit. Like I said, the team's going to be off that week, but Giorgio and I, it's a bit of a holiday tradition. We'll pop on that morning and we spend an hour and 90 minutes or so kind of getting things organized and making sure everything goes out and is running smoothly as well. So, at some point on December 28th, that's the plan, barring some catastrophe. The New Year's celebration phase of the Winter Hunt will begin. And if you're around last year, it'll be very similar to what was around last year. If you check the original news post as well, it has a few details in there, and it has all these dates as well. So that's a good reference point. And then just as important, a reminder that when the New Year's celebrations wind down and 2024 is upon us, the Winter Hunt shutdown phase, it will begin on January 9. And you have kind of 1 week to send out all your final golems. Smash some parts into snow, buy bells with your animated snow, and bell your remaining golems, send them out. The golem parts stop dropping. That said, you can still fire some hailstones and stuff. So there's a few things you'll want to take care of that week, and make sure you take care of that before January 16, because at that point the winter taiga is shut down. That's kind of the official end of the event. Everything's done and over with. And all the shops close as well. So, during that week, take stock of everything you have. If there's anything you want to pick up from the shop, make sure you claim all the rewards off the reward track. If you forget to do that, the track will be gone and you won't be able to claim anything. So make sure you do that as well. Don't forget to hit the claim button. Now I'm asking, what happened to the penguin golem? It's not in the mix anymore. It should be. That should be fixed. I think we fixed it, and then something else broke, and we fixed the fix. But I'm pretty confident that the penguin should be out there now. Fleming, welcome on in. Better late than never, eh? Rachel, sad you missed the beautiful theme song. Well, you'll have to wait for the outro song, I guess, Rachel. Well, is it mobile you're having trouble finding the penguin golem skin? Okay, well, we may have to keep tabs on that for next year. Lint, is a new base being introduced in an upcoming area? That's a nice kind of segue into just rough plans of where we're going in the new year as well. And as always, take everything with a grain of salt. We share our plans of things that, things we're working on before they're released, and kind of rough tentative plans as well. That's just kind of what we're working on, because it's a great way to get feedback. We can, like I always say, we keep our ear to the ground, see what hunters are saying. What are they excited about? What are they a little less excited about? And that helps us determine priorities, make decisions. Where do we put more time? Maybe where do we spend less time? Do we shuffle things around a little bit? So as always, things change, and it's that having that conversation that helps things firm up and can sometimes trigger those changes. So take it with a grain of salt that this isn't an official announcement or anything, but we like to share what we're working on with players, and it's a great way that we think players and devs keep thinking the same way. Basically, it's a good way to get feedback. So the winter hunt will shut down, but what a great thing about the winter hunt is the rewards are a lot of loot for different areas, and you can pick the areas that you want your loot out of as well. And it's the timing works out great, because you have all this loot, and then you can take it to wherever, back to your regular hunting adventures during the Lunar New Year event, and get double and triple loot drops as well. So that's always a little bit of good foresight while you're sending out those golems. Just think about the Lunar New Year event coming. It'll start on February 16 or February 6. I might put a 1 in front of there. February 6. It didn't take me long. I was looking up at the January 16, and I combined that with the February 6 there. But yeah, February 6, the Lunar New Year event will start. You'll be able to get double, triple loot drops by lighting candles. So that's a good time to put a lot of this loot that your golems have brought back. It's a great time to put them to use. You can expect the Super Brie Factory sometime, during March as we celebrate the game's anniversary. It's a good time to get some Super Brie, obviously, but as well as other types of cheese. There's that vending machine where you can cash in various types of cheese that's very region-based as well, which may come in handy in the spring egg hunt, which will be running during April. So if there's a little bit of cheese you need to stock up on, maybe you have a few eggs you want to add to your collection. Maybe there's a few eggs where you like the loot that's inside them that you're looking to collect. There's lots of different goals to set during the egg hunt, that's for sure. Ronza left a present and left, eh? I assume she just mails it in, right? Everyone, don't forget to check your gifts underneath your profile tree. If nothing else, you'll have a gift from Ronza, the King, and Larry to unwrap under your profile tree as well. Matt, you enjoyed a couple of the years where you do the Feed Bake Friday fun glimpse behind the curtain. One day we'll revisit that tradition. It's been a while. But it posed a few challenges as well, getting it all organized and everyone in the same place at the same time. Summer, the event has been the most helpful all year. You love that you're able to get 100k bland queso with the magical scarf golems that saved you a huge grind in Queso Canyon. That's not a bad use of it. You can just start really stockpiling some bland queso. Even food for thought. Sometimes it's nice just to send 1 or 2 golems to a few spots, especially if you have a few scarves, send them out. It's like, I'm not going to send all my golems there, but sometimes it's nice to send 1 for a particular item. The windmill comes to mind as well. If you're a crown collector it's kind of I don't know, just a fun way to stockpile some grilled cheese. Not that grilled cheese is all that hard to get back in the windmill, but it's just a little bit more fun during the winter hunt, especially if you're a high level player. Having to go back to the windmill and collect flour. Some of the birthday event is getting a bit stale, no pun intended. It would be nice to have a twist. And we tried. We explored some different ideas for the birthday event. And ultimately, none of them quite stuck. We threw a lot of things at the wall, and nothing was quite sticking right. So rather than change for the sake of change, we decided to focus our time and efforts on some other projects that were in the pipeline this year. The birthday will be a little short and sweet. It'll be a little shorter than usual as well. And that might even fit some of its theme or some of its, I don't know, the sense of scale that it has. That might be part of the reason why sometimes it gets some events start to feel a little stale, and that they tend to drag on maybe for a little bit longer than they need to. So just the timing of everything as well will be interesting to get feedback and see how it goes. But the birthday event will be a little shorter this year. It is kind of wedged between Lunar New Year and the egg hunt. Quite tight. It's in a bit of a precarious position there. But I think when we saw how the timing worked out, we thought, well, that's actually maybe for the best, that the birthday event's short and sweet, and it doesn't go on for too long. Is Relic Hunter Season 11 coming soon? There will be no Season 11. We're probably going to end the seasonal content. That's the current plan. And, I'll keep repeating that to keep getting feedback and what have you. But, no promises that is the concrete plan. But that's the current plan anyway. But, no, it's not coming anytime soon. Just even tentatively, I don't know if we'll be touching much in that regard until next November. So, 10 is kind of the finale, I guess you could look at it that way. Feed Bake Friday sounds fun. It has been a number of years, but we did try to make a few things that you'd have in the game. I think we made a Yule log one time. We made some bocconcini balls when Snowball Bocconcini came out. I think we made some festive chicken wings one year as well that were red and green. That was kind of fun. Frank, when do you roll the 12-sided die to determine what month Ronza visits? It's when she decides to visit. We don't really have much communication with her. We have to see when she decides to come. Theta, the table of contents is your favorite area this year. Sending a hat there and getting magic essence as a reward makes you sad. Were they too powerful last year? Maybe a small spore charm would feel better. Oh, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of the event as well. Everyone can send their golem somewhere that makes sense to them. The table of contents, the golem rewards its strongest identity, is probably one of the better places to get condensed creativity. So it kind of supports that identity, I guess. And some things you don't get from the golems, like you don't get coins, you don't get pennies, and you don't get prizes when you send the golems out. And that kind of left things a little bit thin in the table of contents. But that said, if you're interested in condensed creativity, it's a pretty good pick. And, if you're not, then, you may have to choose somewhere else to send your golems. Like Matthew's sending all theirs to the Sunken City for sand dollars. I've been spreading mine out a little bit. I wanted to stockpile 1,000 fertilizer. I think I had 500 when the event started. So I wanted to send some to the Beanstalk to make sure I have lots of fertilizer for Lunar New Year, so I can go to the Great Hall and burn some candles while I'm getting eggs to drop. And then sending a few to the Living Garden areas as well. That's my plan anyway. Luna, am I too late? What is M1K? So many years ago, the M400 mouse was added, and it was the 400th mouse in the game, which hindsight seems like a bit of a peculiar milestone to celebrate. But nonetheless, we celebrated the 400th mouse in the game, and the 1,000th mouse is coming up relatively soon. And Jacob's been working on the M1000 mouse, or M1K, depends on how we want to end up naming that mouse. And you can expect that, if all goes according to plan, a little bit after event season. The spring egg hunt kind of closes everything out. Even kind of a rough little timeline above me here, where the egg hunt comes to an end, or even maybe during the egg hunt. We started some work on something a little bit before the M1K, rethinking codices just a little bit on how you view them. So specifically the camp section on browser, and the mobile app, to the degree a bit of a smaller change, but an update nonetheless, where we want to incorporate some of the codices that you've earned into that camp page trap selector, so you can see which ones are currently giving you some stats, which ones are currently applying a bonus, being able to click it and then view all the ones you have, which ones are active, which ones are not currently active because of maybe the area you're in, something like that, but you still own them, and then an ability to see, which ones have I yet to find as well. That one's a little bit of a bonus feature we're hoping we have time to do, but it'll help with the discovery of you'll be able to see all the codices in the game, be able to better learn about where do I get them, what do they do, and at any point which ones are active. If you have an ancient charm armed and you have the what is it called? It's the Empyrean Codex. It lets you know, hey, good, you have this charm arm, so this codex is now giving you the ability that you have a chance to upgrade your charms when you hunt with them. Other ones would just be active at all times, like the New Year's Lucky Codex, which the 2024 version will be coming out pretty soon. Ones like that are going to be active at all times. So you'll kind of see like, oh, good, oh yeah, that I remember, it's giving me +1 luck. Other that are, if they're power type or area specific as well, they'll light up when you're in the right area. So just trying to give better feedback and better discovery of where these, which codices you have, what they're doing for you. And that kind of lends itself a little bit into the School of Sorcery, which is in the mix for this year as well. And you can imagine a school probably has a lot of books around. Schools and libraries, there's some overlap in what you do there. There's a lot of reading when you're in school as well. So there might be some new codices to find, new abilities to learn, which makes it maybe all the more important to make sure we've organized how you see them, how you learn about them, and how you keep tabs on which ones are working at any one time. Lots of stuff in the timeline. The School of Sorcery book map piece, you presume, eh? The M1K also looks like School of Sorcery King's giveaway, a new Draconic Trap and Big Jack. Yeah, and again, as it gets a little bit later into the timeline, things get even more tentative. So, please bear with me, take a grain of salt. And, I share things to see often where player enthusiasm lies and, see what comes up in conversation. Like I always say, we keep our ear to the ground and, sometimes somebody has a really poignant comment that resonates with us. Like, nope, that makes a lot of sense. We didn't think about that. Okay, you know what? Let's change course. Let's modify a decision that we've made. And so that's why I like to share things, before they even come out. But I can appreciate sometimes that's a little frustrating then when plans change. Like, hey, you said this was going to happen and it didn't. Well, what's up? But I think ultimately it does more good than harm. So I just have to kind of bear with some of the frustrations that come up from time to time, knowing that good things happen from it as well. Brad used more airship charms to get Ronza to show off, eh? Mark still remembers the Power Ranger birthday event. You might have a whole lot of those action figures left over from that. And Swift might be onto something. Look at that. A new Draconic area. As we have kind of been teasing a little bit that is kind of the tentative plan right now as well. Reflecting on 2023, a lot of it was getting the School of Sorcery in a good spot where we could start on the area after that as well. And the team did a great job to accomplish that goal by year's end. Sure enough, the School of Sorcery is pretty well complete. It's sitting there at like 98% done and just a few finishing touches before it goes out to wrap up, and so that we could already start work on a new Draconic area as well. It's a little bit early to share too many details, and we technically haven't gotten past that point where, yeah, this is definitely now written in ink. It's not written in pencil anymore. So, take that with a grain of salt like everything else. But the next phase is there. We're hoping very early in the new year, we'll be able to move past that ideation, prototyping, proof of concept phase, and we'll be working on some concept art that really helps firm up the art direction for some of the characters. It also helps firm up the narratives. The narrative starts a little bit loose of like what's happening here. What happens when I'm hunting? How am I moving through this area? How do I progress? And the concept art often kind of just helps pull that all together. There's always a few loose threads, and you're able to stitch those together, as well as just laying the groundwork, or programmers we tend to call it scaffolding. Get a lot of the foundation laid, the code structure of how the engine works that powers a certain area as well. And kind of once we get those two boxes checked, then it is really kind of more off to the races. A lot more things are now written in ink, and the plans can be a lot more certain once we hit that mark. Dave's the card icon and the building icon, the two upcoming new area releases. Card icon, uh-oh. I don't think there's a card there. There is a codex hanging out up there. And, tentatively, that's where we want to overhaul some of the interfaces of how you look at your codexes. I think both are technically correct. I think we say codices in the game, though, so I'll try to say codices. Like I said, incorporating into the trap selector so you can see it. Just like your charm and your cheese, you're always aware what's my currently armed cheese. You could own a lot of codices and kind of forget they're doing much. Forget which ones you own, or even just a little bit of positive reinforcement of like, yep, don't worry, this one's active. It's doing its thing right now. Can add the Rift Ultimate Power Charm, Rift Ultimate Luck Charm as options to the promotion potion. You can do that. But you got to plan ahead just a little bit. So the promotion potion cannot do it. But the promotion potion can make ultimate lucky power charms. Then there's a Riftifier potion. That will convert them into the Rift versions. So that's how you do that. So you got to strategize just a little bit. You got to do a little bit of resource management, take stock of your inventory. And when you're planning out how to cash out during the Halloween event, you may need to plan out ahead a little bit, but you can certainly do it. It's just those are very, very powerful charms, and so with that comes a little bit more cost than just a regular promotion potion. Nancy should have Ronza come during the birthday event. There's been once or twice I think she's shown up while the event's going along, and it's maybe a little too much noise. It's too much of a good thing all at once. There's it's a little bit too much frosting on the cake. It's a little too sweet, and you end up putting the plate down before you finish the slice type thing. So it hasn't really worked very well in the past. So, barring some eureka moment, you can probably safely bet on her not showing up during an event anytime soon. Matt, you just built the Dragon Slayer cannon right before the Winter Hunt. You love the Winter Hunt skin for that trap, eh? I think that's a snowball one. There's a pretty good skin. I think it's chilling out in the game. Let me see. I think if you are a bit of a sleuth, you'll be able to find it already. But there's a pretty fun looking skin coming for that trap. Let me go look at my uncollected trap skins, which is quite a few. Oh boy. I forget what it's called here. Let's search cannon. There's the cake. There's the egg. There's the gilded. The New Year's celebratory party cannon skin. Is sitting out as an uncollected skin on my hunter profile. What could that mean? Hay's asking, what is the School of Sorcery? So it is a new adventure, new permanent area, new adventure coming out in 2023. It is a shadow and arcane mix, so that's maybe a good goal to set yourself as event season winds down here. Maybe look at some shadow and arcane traps that you're looking to upgrade. You might want to finish those off before event season comes to an end. And that's when the School of Sorcery will be releasing sometime after event season. As you can expect, you'll be learning, you'll be working your way through a few courses to become a more, powerful wizard than the Mythweaver has become. Why X will the Lunar New Year event give us a better dragon base than the Dragon Jade base? Alas, the Jade base collection is now complete. It has now been completed. Every limited edition version of the base has been released, and so there will be no engraved base this year. There'll be a new collectible to kind of commemorate the year, but the base collection has been completed. Right now, we're still kind of playing around a bit, but the Jade base is getting a little bit, its stats increased as well to kind of, replace the identity that those bases once had over the course of a decade plus. Volatile, we need ice dragons. Well, stay tuned. You may not be disappointed. Swift, I don't think the new power type will be the football power type. I don't think so. Murphy, happy holidays to you as well. Andrew, you're wondering why Feather is so rare. I understand the goose being like this, but why the Feather too? Well, it's entirely possible that there can be too many in the system at any one time. You want to make sure that there's not so many that you can't possibly use them up. So it's very valuable, ergo it's very rare. That said, everything else you get from the golems, that they're tradable, right? So you could use gold as another resource you can use to have more feathers. But, we have to sit back and just, objectively, right? I know kind of more stuff is better stuff, but you know, that we can't kind of make decisions that way. Otherwise, you have a certain amount of rewards, and then inevitably, you know, the next time that comes around, it's like, well, we're comparative by nature. It's human nature. You compare things to judge quality. It's like, well, it needs to be better than it was last time, and it needs to be better than it was last time. So we need a more objective line. We tend to always think like, okay, what sort of makes sense on paper, like mathematically speaking, and then kind of what feels good. And we try to find that middle ground between the two where it can hopefully balance the scales and check both boxes at the same time. So, you know, the feathers, they are valuable, and usually valuable things are rare, and things are valuable because they are rare. So, yeah, you can, I guess, hopefully that all makes sense. Jeneth, it would be great if we could have 2 of each trap and base. I think that might dramatically change the game. I don't think that's happening. Is there a rank requirement for the School of Sorcery? Now, you know what? I haven't thought about that in quite some time, so I don't want to risk misspeaking. So I won't say anything. It's not higher than Viceroy. It's Viceroy, right? Come on, I can trust my memory, right? I can trust it. Well, it's a Viceroy area. It would only make sense. It comes after the Beanstalk. The beans, you know, it's not like we have a whole bunch of Viceroy areas, right? So, yeah, the Beanstalk is Viceroy. I'm not losing my mind. All right. Yeah, it'll be a Viceroy location. And if I'm wrong about that, then I'll really question how my memory works. So I'll have to kind of reverse engineer my brain and see what's going on there. Combine all the bases to make the ultimate Lunar New Year base. They're all limited edition, Frank, so that's a kind of a hard idea to execute. All those bases are LE, meaning they won't come back. So, you know, any sort of combine all of them is just going to not feel very good if you've only been playing for 11 years. Matt, you missed one of the Jade bases, took a year off from the game for various reasons. Wish you hadn't, but alas, it's fine. You don't have the Polar base either. That's it. And, you know, it's always in conversation, but there's no plans to change what limited edition means. But, you know, it would be a very big decision to make. But, you know, no decision's completely off the table or taboo. But that's it. In some ways, I think I like that it tells a story, right? When you look through different inventories and mice and different things on people's profiles, everyone has a very unique story that way. You know, everyone's account is a little bit different than someone else's account. And I think that's kind of, you know, for a few of the rough edges, that's kind of adds a nice little glow to the LE, I guess. It's an I was here moment. It's a chance for a little bit of nostalgia and a little bit of discussion between things. And you know, that's why they're left off of any sort of permanent collection. There's nothing reinforcing that you need to have all those things. It's like little notches on the door, you know, when you mark how tall you are as the years go by. And you ever have like a parent or a grandparent, you know, whether they use a little masking tape or you notch into the wood door frame just a little bit and you write your name on this year, this was I. And limited edition items kind of have a little bit of that emotional tie to me of you know, I was here for this event. Even, you know, Matt, like you said, I was away from the game for a year and then I came back, and it's kind of reflected in that. And don't always see that as a bad thing. That's your story. That's your hunter's story that is reflected in the equipment and the things that you have on your profile. YX is the fabled rank getting progression. That is the level cap, YX, so no. That is the highest title you can get. That was enough to make me scroll down and make sure, yeah. I tend to, as I read and as I speak at the same time, I tend to say the wrong thing often enough. Now, well, only the Dragon base because I came back to the game this year. I think, well, the Dragon base already exists, so it's LE. But there'll be another collectible to commemorate the occasion. Swift, is it a conscious decision to have less and less LE traps each passing year? Not so much limited edition, but just thinking about the reward space for events. It was easier in the early days to do limited edition items because the areas were a lot more straightforward, simple, and quick. But now, to have them compete with equipment you earn in the game over the course of weeks or months, where they're literally longer than any event lasts for, just doesn't really make sense. So with that just kind of limits what sort of limited edition items even end up being a good idea. So it's just a natural outcome of the progression of the game that they just don't fit as well anymore. Now that kind of end game areas have a lot of epic goals with them. There's a lot of kind of stretch goals to pursue, and limited edition is usually tied to events. They just kind of don't fit. There's not as much room to have that good idea. My horn is ready one more time. All right. Matt's still holding out for the double charm conduit. I don't see that happening. It would be the only way we could make double charm conduit a reality is we'd have to like delete all the charms from the game, right? Like just break them all down into something and start over from scratch. It would just be too hard to add that while all these things exist. You know, charms would have to be designed from day one with the idea like you can arm 2 of them, and so it's, you know, I really don't see that happening ever. Who knows though? Sometimes lightning in a bottle is captured and somebody finds the perfect creative solution to a seemingly impossible problem, right? Nothing's impossible. You should make it a sage. Well, we'll slowly work our way up, but we want to make sure there's a good amount of adventures at all the titles as well. So, you know, we want to pace it appropriately. A platinum upgrade for the School of Sharks. Yeah, the School of Sharks. School of Sorcery, School of Sharks having the same acronym is a little bit unfortunate, but I think we'll find a way forward. We'll find a way forward. The School of Sharks sure could use an upgrade, though, before a Hydro area gets on the docket, eh? Maybe that should happen. YX, can we have a sneak preview of the School of Sorcery mechanics for now? We might save that for the new year. It's still a ways off. Like I said, the School of Sorcery is going to come out after event season comes to an end, so after the egg hunt. So we can dive a little bit more into that. But, you know, I have a few teasers here at least, and maybe some speculation about, you know, those things sitting on the staircase. They look like they might be the type of item that attract a mouse toward them. And there's 3 of them, so there's probably some different some different tiers of mice to be encountered as you work your way through. Will the Dragon Jade base give bonus to draconic traps in the future? No, Lint, it will not. We tend not to change what limited edition things do. And it's, you know, sometimes if it has to happen, it has to happen. But generally speaking, it doesn't seem like a good idea because it's sort of changing the rules of a game after it starts. And we try to avoid that as much as possible. That always has a lot of friction to it. Sometimes you just have to do it to correct an error or a mistake or something. But, you know, once somebody decides to obtain something and then it goes away and you can't get it anymore, and then if you change what it does, what if somebody decided not to get it because they decided, well, I'm not really interested in what it does, I'm not going to get it. And then you change it and they can no longer get it. So it's kind of, if it has to happen, you know, okay, it has to happen. You rip the Band-Aid off. But generally speaking, you want to avoid that because it doesn't sound very fun. Matt, your first Ellie trap and base were the Hit Grab, Rockin' Horsey, and the Magma base. They hold a special place in your heart. Yeah, those have some nostalgia for me as well. Nathan missed the Desert Heater base. Uh-oh. Well, we do tend to take some of the limited edition items that come up common in conversation. So, you know, keep that feedback coming. Mention those, you know, those equipment that you thought were very iconic in the past and why. And that's often inspiration. We like to add a non-LE version of it somewhere along the lines. Even that was a lot of inspiration for this year's Great Winter Hunt. So on the reward track, you can get the Naughty List printing press base. You can claim that after you send out 45 golems. And that's a pretty cool base. You can restock on some of the printing paper by visiting any Folklore Forest location, where you can buy that paper for different resources based on the location. Now, as you can imagine, with that being in the shops there, we're probably going to add a non-LE version of that in the not too distant future. But you can forever have the more festive version of the base as well as a nice nostalgic I was here kind of reward to collect, as well as you can utilize it without having to earn it. As you can imagine, when we add that base, you're probably going to need to earn it in some significant capacity. So that is a nice little bonus to being in the event, is you get to use the base from day one without having to discover where it is going to be hidden somewhere in the Folklore Forest region. Ryan asking if the Dragon Jade base will be back. It's LE. No. If anything is limited edition, it does not come back. That's what limited edition means. Are there plans for base skins, more widely usable skins, or a tournament overhaul? No plans for the tournament overhaul, at least in the short term. We have some long-term plans there, but it's just very hard to fit into kind of the roadmap, and that is several months of work. And we also want to make sure we end up with a version of it that hopefully appeals to a few more players. And there's always kind of a very small subset of players that we're interested in them. And fair enough, I think, because some of the weaknesses of tournaments, they could be a little bit better. So anyway, it's a little bit of a creative block there, so we're not too sure. Base skins and just kind of an overhaul to how trap skins and like cosmetics work, if you will. That's an idea that keeps bubbling to the surface, and we're just kind of waiting for that moment where we capture the right essence to the idea. I just don't want to do something for the sake of doing it. We want to make sure the idea is strong and it makes sense. And there's a few creative challenges or a few creative problems to work out. If we kind of change what a skin means, we have all these trap skins that already exist. So whatever the solution is needs to just seamlessly blend in with those as well. So there's been a little bit of iteration, but you know, it's tough. There's only so many hours in the day. Are all the events on screen in chronological order? So I should probably put up a big old disclaimer, but organic, please, everybody, if you do share this, this is tentative. This is for feedback purposes only. This is not an announcement. This is me just starting a discussion with players. So this is not a sort of chronological timeline, anything like that. I'm always full of disclaimers, though, aren't? Better than, that's okay being full of disclaimers, I guess. Better than other things. Chrome Tacky Glue is the most iconic Sid, eh? Please buff the Aurora base. It works as labeled. You get what's on the box, but alas, we don't usually change LE stuff. A non-LE thief base would be nice. Yeah, that's another good one. Every once in a while, there's a few kind of iconic ones, but you know, we'll see. Like I said, we kind of keep that into the backlog of one day. Maybe adding a non-LE version of that as well. CCM, welcome on in. I'm slowly trying to get caught up on chat, but I think I've missed quite a bit. I apologize. Merry happy holidays to you as well. Glad to hear you're enjoying the winter hunt. Party bot, that's a pretty good one too. Hurry, you need the all-season express track, the desert heater base, the queso cannon storm base, the gemology base, and the thief base non-LE version. Hey, that's a pretty good list as well. The Express track base has been one that's been on our minds as well a little bit. Actually, Dev Norm had a few creative ideas of maybe how to roll that out, no pun intended. So we'll see. We'll see. It might be something we want to tie into the Winter Hunt in a non-limited edition way, but still kicking around a few ideas. Fleming, can you make the question about bringing back LE stuff LE so it doesn't keep coming back? Well, I like to hear it, right? I like to hear different sentiments and stuff, and that's ultimately how we make decisions. And you know, nothing's set in stone, you know. We had gems to trap skins like add stats effects, eh? That's what charms are for, Frank. So yeah, you usually don't want too many systems that all do the exact same thing. Everything should function in its unique way. And skins really should just be cosmetic, because as soon as you give them stats, then you no longer are picking which one you like the best. There's objectively a best choice. So they're meant to be just fun ways to dress up your trap. You know, fun ways you can push the art direction and the art style a little too far over the top, because it's a whimsical trap skin. It's not like a canonical item that exists in the game. They're sort of meant to, you know, every once in a while poke fun at themselves a bit. Maybe tell a joke through some artwork. So it's a very unique design space as well. What's the M1K? Jacob has been working on the M1000 mouse to commemorate the 1000th mouse being added to the game in 2024. Did I get the year right? I sure did. All right, good for me. Yeah, that's on the docket to come out, as you would imagine, in 2024. Probably, you can, again, kind of as event season winds down, that's when we'll start to bring up conversations of the M1K, and the School of Sorcery will become even a larger discussion point. I got to keep an eye on the time, actually. Today, like I said, the team's taking a holiday break. Today's our last day, and we're having a bit of a get-together as well. It'd be nice to see everybody in person, so I got to make sure I don't go too late so I can get there on time. Variable learning items that allow you to equip any skin for a particular power type could be fun. Earnable, there you go. That's the rough idea we were kicking around Voltide as well. A way to, again, blend trap skins, or even if you want to use an old trap that you haven't used in years, you just like the artwork of it. Trying to explore new ways of being able to enjoy that artwork while still having the stats of something higher level equipped. But, there's some design challenges there, and we want to make sure we do it well if we do it. Mario, it would help if you could see who you sent presents to. If you go to their profile, you can see that you sent them a gift, but I don't think it works the other way around. Matt, I don't know. I don't like the idea of breaking the fourth wall by putting any of the devs into the game. We'll stay clear of those mouse traps. YX, will there be any enhancements to Valor Rift? No, there's no really. There was a little idea kicking around of how to add sort of like a secret shortcut to the Valor Rift, but it fizzled out. And at least at the moment, I don't think we're gonna go back and touch the Valor Rift, to be honest. Like I said, never say never. I don't know. Sometimes it's about having the right idea at the right time, and there just maybe wasn't the right time for that idea. But then sometimes even maybe a fun idea kind of fades into the background because there's never the right time to add it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that'll ever become a reality. There's no plans right now to change the Valor Rift. If anything, as you upgrade, you notice this gem base that you're earning in the Folklore Forest. It's becoming increasingly arduous to keep upgrading that thing. And you may continue to learn how to upgrade it until eventually it is a larger commitment of adventures and completionism than even a significant Valor Rift base. So, we'll kind of see where things end up. And that might kind of, I don't know, be the predecessor to that. Successor to that. Yeah, there's the word I'm looking for. Tarako, what are the last four things, eh? One is the School of Sorcery is the last fourth thing. That's a prize key for the giveaway. I meant to touch base on that, but there's so much to go over. It's a whole year of tentative plans. Tentative, I'll keep throwing that out there. But, getting feedback. Some of the changes we made to the King's giveaway this year, I thought were very well received. We had some positive feedback from players, and there was a few things even like we didn't have time to get in there. So there's a little bit of excitement even on the dev team to kind of finish that up. If you recall, when you visited the vault and you saw 3 prizes and you could pick one of the prizes, basically every 10 keys you get to visit the vault. We wanted to allow you a little bit of agency where you could kind of shuffle that around a little bit or be able to add just, a few more mechanics around picking your prize. So there's a few things we want to experiment with the giveaway. So we're hoping we can fit one in. And it's often a good event to fit in, shortly after, not shortly, but, after a new area opens up, because you don't need to leave the area to participate in the giveaway event is nice. You can participate anywhere. It doesn't have a dedicated location. So, for the most part, you're free to stay where you are. And that's why it's kind of a nice one to fit in. As well, there's a surprising amount of work to get even a repeated event up and running again. But it's a little bit less than some of the other events. So it seems like a good candidate. That second to last one, that is the icon for the Draconic power type. So, it can be what that may. And the final one is the Bloom and Spice plant. We're going to see if Big Jack. We've been kind of seeing if she has any interest in visiting the kingdom. And, she's given us a lukewarm response so far. I don't know, hasn't been quite, much past lukewarm. So we'll see if Big Jack is able to visit. But that might come down to some decisions on what other equipment come out and what upgrades there are to earn, and what you may need to own in order to acquire those upgrades, whether Big Jack might be useful or not. Timing, it might be nice to open one present a day instead of all at once. There is kind of a laundry list of improvements we'd like to make to the profile gifting system. To be quite honest, it's hooked into the same way your regular daily gifts work, which is unfortunate. It's just how it was built many, many years ago, and the simplest of change would require ripping it apart and rebuilding it from scratch. So it's tough. It's in a tough spot a little bit. It's kind of like there's something that works, but the the bolts are rusted on it. And so you want to change it, but as soon as you crack the bolt open, you know the thing's going to split in half, and now you just got to rebuild it all again. It's a very, not the best metaphor ever, but yeah, the profile giftings in a weird space. There's even a few other little changes we'd like to make, even allow you to gift after the gift opening ceremony, so you could keep putting things under the tree and they could open them later. But some technical limitations means that is a lot of work to make it happen. So we're just kind of weighing the effort versus impact, right? Could we spend that time doing other things that players will be able to enjoy a lot more significantly? Or is that time well spent based on kind of how much enjoyment players will get out of it? And it's just kind of the harsh realities of making decisions based on limited time and resources. All right, on that note, I better wrap up pretty darn soon. Like I said, we got a little holiday party where this is the last day and we're all going to get together to be able to see each other. And I better make sure I'm not late. Rachel, Floating Islands journal theme could be fun. We really didn't do a journal theme for the Floating Islands. Am I sorely mistaken here? Yeah, you know what? I don't see one. That does sound fun. I guess the dirigible cosmetics kind of took over the cosmetic world. Now, that said, I don't have a trivia question today, but we do have a reward link. I'll put this reward link in the chat for your clicking convenience. This is a Larry Link reward, indeed. I will put this in the chat as well, so you can click it. Something to bring in the new year with, something to celebrate the arrival of 2024. You can probably guess what that is. Lint, is there a new area for 2025? Very tentatively. We're getting way too far ahead here. But as we've alluded to in previous Feedback Fridays, the School of Sorcery is coming out. There's tentative plans for a Draconic area that would follow that up. And then we're looking to bring the Folklore Forest storyline to a appropriately dramatic conclusion where you can finally thwart the Mythweaver. If anything, that would probably be the thing that we would be looking to slot in for 2025. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. I risk just, somebody saying, hey, remember when you said this and it never happened? But that's the whole thing as well. I like to share even the loosest of plans sometimes to see what players think, see what the sentiments are. Sometimes somebody has something poignant to say that just pokes a hole in our plans and be like, all right, you know what? No, let's pivot a little bit. Let's change course, change heading. Swift, when can we use the Valor Rift journal theme? Jacob's hoarding it for around 2 years. You know what? Show up during feedback. Next Feedback Friday should be Jacob if all goes according to plan. It's a ways away. Plans may change. Sometimes somebody's out, has that day off or they're out sick that day, so it's awfully in the future to say with certainty. But show up while Jacob's doing one of the live illustrations and maybe remind him about that and see if he can push that up into the priority list a bit. But yeah, I don't know what the plans are either, Swift. Math, thank you. Well, thank you for joining me, Math. Fleming, today we did the questions. That's your Christmas gift, eh? Maybe I can go back to this. I'll be a little bit larger for a minute here to say goodbye. Sean, happy holidays to you as well. Happy New Year. Hopefully many more to come. We will be celebrating 16 years of MouseHunt in March, and that is just wild. I can definitely say, it's a anecdote I've shared in the past, but when the Tribal Isles came out and when the Dragon Mouse was released, that was meant to be the end of the game. That was it. That was like you beat the final boss. And we thought, who is even going to get there? That's partly why it's a little contrived. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but how you build that ancient box trap, how you go and thwart the Acolyte to find the dragon's one and only weakness, to then build a magical trap. And you might notice the Ice Maiden is made from the high tension spring. So the last release trap in the game was going to be made from the first trap. That was kind of intentional in that a story ends on the same note it started with, type thing. Everyone goes out on an epic adventure and then the heroes return home to celebrate that victory. The very last trap in the game was made from the very first trap you ever had, and the tacky glue didn't even exist. originally when the game was released. So, you know, that was meant to be the note the entire game ended on, and we thought, oh, maybe, you know, a few people will make it to the dragon, and, well, you know, maybe we'll work on another game, or we'll go back to doing web design or something like that. But no, we were wrong. A lot more people got to that dragon than anticipated. So, you know, I don't know the exact moment where we just kind of clued in, like, let's just plan this thing as though this thing will just go forever, rather than trying to add a you know, end of game moment here. So that kind of had to shift some of our design and storytelling a little bit. But a whole lot of happy holidays, Merry Christmases in the chat. Likewise, same to you. Hopefully everybody enjoys the season. You have some time to spend with friends and family as well. Enjoy the rest of the great winter hunt. Again, one final reminder before we say goodbye here. The New Year's celebrations coming on December 28. Shutdown for the event begins on January 9 and January 16. Make sure you go to the shop. Spend all your stuff. That golem box you get on the very last step of the reward track, that thing's going to melt away. Open it up. Go into your inventory, open it up. It has some goodies in there. Put those goodies to use, because when the event ends, that golem gift box will be gone. If you leave it in your inventory, you won't be able to use it, because if it comes back next year, it may contain different things. So we have to remove it so we can change what's inside of it. But that's, you know, a good heads up. Make sure you claim everything on the reward track, right? You won't be able to claim the reward track after the event ends. Make sure you, if you have a big light up pink button on your HUD, make sure to claim your goodies. But that's going to be it for me. Happy hunting, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll see y'all in the new year. Thanks for playing, and we'll see you in 2024.
You're a trap, don't seem to mind it. You attract me, I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry, oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cruel. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns